Welcome back to Healthier Daily. Feeling a little weaker on the stairs? Finding it harder to get up from your favorite chair? This slow, creeping decline in strength is something many of us fear as we age. It has a medical name, sarcopenia. It is age-related muscle loss, and it is one of the primary reasons for loss of independence in seniors. But what if the most powerful solution isn't found in the gym? We are joined by Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara to discuss this. Doctor, you believe food is our most powerful tool against sarcopenia?
Thank you, Dr. Carter. Yes, food is the most powerful tool because it is the foundation of everything. I ask my patients to think of their body as a house. Your bones are the frame of this house, but your muscles are the walls, the foundation, and most importantly, the workers who keep everything standing strong and perform all the daily repairs. In modern life, we often tell seniors to exercise, which is like telling these workers to work harder. But we forget the most important thing. You must feed the workers. If the workers are weak and hungry, the house will begin to crumble no matter how much you ask of them. Today, we will not talk about working harder. We will talk about nourishing smarter.
Nourishing the workers? That's a brilliant way to frame it. If you or someone you love is feeling that weakness and are concerned about muscle loss, please type a 1 in the comments below. Let's see how many of us are ready to learn how to rebuild our strength from the inside out. Dr. Hinohara, I love that concept of feeding the workers. It shifts the focus from exercise as a punishment to nourishment as a foundation. So let's get practical. To build and maintain muscle, everyone immediately thinks of protein. What is the first foundational, protein-rich food you recommend to begin this rebuilding process for someone over 60?
The first food is perhaps the most powerful muscle-supporting food in the entire traditional Japanese diet. It is natto, which is soybeans that have been fermented. I understand that for many Westerners, it can seem very strange at first. It is sticky, it is stringy, and it has a very strong, unique smell that some people must learn to appreciate. But its power to strengthen an aging body is undeniable. This was the very first food I added to the diet of my patient, Mr. Ishikawa, the retired carpenter. His greatest sadness was that his hands had become too weak and shaky to hold his tools properly. He could no longer do the small wood repairs that gave his days so much joy and purpose. He told me he felt his usefulness was fading away with his strength. He was eating, but his body was not absorbing the nutrients properly. His workers were starving. Natto was the first step because the fermentation process makes the rich protein in the soybeans incredibly easy for an older body to digest and absorb. It does not require a strong digestive fire. The fermentation also creates a unique enzyme called nattokinase, which is famous in Japan for its ability to support healthy blood flow. This is critical because you must be able to deliver the nutrients to the muscles for them to be of any use.
That is a crucial point. The ease of digestion and the improved circulation are key, but the quality of the protein itself is remarkable. Natto is a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids our bodies cannot make on their own. This is vital for triggering muscle growth after 60. There's a scientific concept called the leucine threshold. Leucine is a specific amino acid that acts like a light switch to turn on muscle protein synthesis, or MPS, the body's muscle-building process. Seniors often have a higher threshold, meaning they need a larger dose of high-quality protein in a meal to flip that switch to on. Because natto provides such a potent, easily absorbed source of leucine and other amino acids, it helps older adults reach that critical threshold much more effectively. A 2023 study in the American Journal of Physiology highlighted the importance of these kinds of high-quality, digestible protein sources for overcoming this age-related hurdle. And you mentioned nattokinase, but natto is also the world's richest food source of vitamin K2. We now understand there's a deep connection called bone-muscle crosstalk. Vitamin K2 is essential for directing calcium to the bones, and we're now learning that healthy bones release hormones, like osteocalcin, that positively influence muscle strength and function. So by eating natto, Mr. Ishikawa wasn't just feeding his muscles. He was strengthening his bones, which in turn sent signals back to further support his muscles.
That is a wonderful way to explain it. The body is a community where every part helps the other.
Exactly. Now I know natto can be an acquired taste. Is there another foundational protein source you recommend that might be more familiar to a Western palate, but offers similar powerful benefits?
Yes, a wonderful alternative is found in a small, humble tin. It is the sardine. Like natto, the sardine is a complete food. We eat the whole fish, the meat for protein, the skin for collagen, and the tiny soft bones for calcium. It is exceptionally rich in protein, but it also provides the body with two other things that aging muscles desperately need: a way to calm down inflammation and a source of deep cellular energy. This was the second food we added to Mr. Ishikawa's diet. He would have a small bowl of rice with a little natto for breakfast, and 3 times a week he would have a simple lunch with a few sardines, perhaps mashed with a little onion. He told me that after about a month, it was not just his hand strength that began to return, but his stamina. He no longer felt that deep cellular fatigue in the afternoons that had been plaguing him for years.
That feeling of returning stamina is directly linked to the incredibly high content of omega-3 fatty acids in sardines. As we age, our muscles can develop a condition scientists call anabolic resistance. This means the muscles become less sensitive to the growth signals from protein. You can be eating enough protein, but your muscles don't hear the message to rebuild as efficiently. Omega-3s act as a powerful anti-inflammatory agent that helps to sensitize the muscle tissue, allowing it to respond properly to protein again. A major study in the Journals of Gerontology, Series A, found that older adults who supplemented their diets with omega-3s showed a significantly greater muscle-building response to protein intake compared to a placebo group. They were effectively reversing anabolic resistance. Furthermore, sardines are one of the few natural food sources of vitamin D, which is critical not just for bone health, but for muscle function itself. And as you mentioned, they are packed with coenzyme Q10. As we've discussed before on this show, CoQ10 is essential for our cellular power plants, the mitochondria. So by eating sardines, Mr. Ishikawa was calming the inflammation that was making his muscles deaf to protein, improving his muscles' ability to actually use the protein he was eating, and directly fueling his cells' energy production. It's a perfect trifecta for fighting back against sarcopenia. So we have 2 powerful, foundational protein sources in natto and sardines. They are providing the essential bricks to rebuild the muscle walls of the house, so to speak. But you mentioned that your approach is about supporting the entire system, not just focusing on one ingredient. What is the next food on your list that acts as a supporter for these muscle-building processes?
The next food is one that comes from the sea, but it is not a fish. It is the sea's own vegetable. It is seaweed, which we call kaiso in Japan. In the West, seaweed is often seen as just a wrapper for sushi or a garnish. But in the traditional Japanese diet, it is an essential food we eat almost every day, especially as we grow older. It is a silent powerhouse of minerals that our land-based soils no longer provide in abundance. I am speaking of magnesium, potassium, and most importantly, iodine. These minerals are not protein, but they are what allow the muscles to function correctly, to contract, to relax, and to recover from use. But the most vital role of seaweed is to nourish the master of your metabolism.
And the master of your metabolism is, of course, the thyroid gland located in the neck. Your thyroid produces hormones that regulate the speed at which your entire body uses energy, your metabolic rate. As we age, thyroid function can often become sluggish, a condition called subclinical hypothyroidism, which is very common in seniors. This directly leads to a slower metabolism, chronic fatigue, weight gain, and a much harder time preserving lean muscle mass, even with adequate protein intake. Seaweed is the world's richest natural source of iodine, the essential mineral building block that the thyroid gland requires to create its hormones, T3 and T4. Without sufficient iodine, the entire metabolic engine of your body begins to sputter. A report from the World Health Organization has highlighted that iodine deficiency is a significant global health concern, and seniors are particularly at risk due to changes in diet and nutrient absorption. By adding just a small amount of seaweed to the diet, you are providing the direct fuel your thyroid needs to keep your metabolism running efficiently, which is absolutely essential for preserving muscle as you age.
That is exactly right. A fast, efficient engine can use the fuel you give it. A slow, sputtering engine cannot.
So seaweed is essentially tuning up the body's engine. That's a critical piece of the puzzle that most people miss. What is the fourth food on your list? You mentioned this one is important for the scaffolding, the joints and connective tissues that support the muscles.
Yes, the fourth food is very small, but its role is very large. It is the sesame seed. We use them constantly in Japan, not just for their nutty flavor, but for what we call lubricating strength. They are rich in the minerals calcium and magnesium, which we have discussed are important for muscle contraction. But they also provide healthy oils and other compounds that soothe and nourish the joints. For my patient, Mr. Ishikawa, the carpenter, it was not just his muscles that had become weak, but his joints were stiff and sore. His hands ached from years of work. Adding freshly ground sesame seeds to his daily rice and vegetables helped to ease this stiffness. It nourished the tissues that hold the muscles and bones together, allowing for more fluid movement.
That soothing effect is strongly backed by modern science. Sesame seeds are uniquely rich in powerful antioxidant compounds called lignans, specifically sesamin and sesamolin. A key problem in aging muscle and joints is oxidative stress, cumulative damage from unstable molecules called free radicals that makes muscles recover more slowly and joints become more inflamed. A comprehensive study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry showed that the lignans in sesame seeds are highly effective at neutralizing free radicals and reducing markers of oxidative stress throughout the body. So by eating sesame seeds, you are providing your muscles and joints with an antioxidant shield, protecting them from the very damage that accelerates sarcopenia and arthritis. And you mentioned grinding them. That's a crucial practical tip, as the hard outer hull of whole seeds can prevent us from absorbing their nutrients. Grinding them into a powder or using tahini, which is a paste made from ground sesame seeds, makes all those incredible fats, minerals, and lignans fully available to the body.
Yes, a simple spoonful of freshly ground sesame over your meal. A small act with a great benefit. Every spoonful is an act of prevention for the entire structure of the body.
An act of prevention, that's the ultimate goal. These foods are a testament to how different cultures have found unique, powerful solutions to the universal challenges of aging. It's truly inspiring. To get a sense of our wonderful community here at Healthier Daily, please take a moment to type your city, state, or country in the comments below. It's always a joy to see where everyone is tuning in from. Dr. Hinohara, we've now covered 4 incredible foods, 2 foundational proteins in natto and sardines, and 2 systemic supporters in seaweed and sesame seeds. I can't help but notice that they are all either proteins, healthy fats, or mineral-rich vegetables. Many people watching, who have been told for years to fear carbohydrates, might be wondering, are carbs always the enemy of a strong, lean body as we age?
That is a very wise and important question, and it brings us to the 5th and final food on our list, which is often the most surprising to my Western patients. It is not a protein. It is not a fat. It is, in fact, a carbohydrate. But it is what I call a wise carbohydrate, a carbohydrate with a soul. I am speaking of the sweet potato, especially the purple-fleshed variety that is a staple in Okinawa, one of the world's great longevity hotspots. Unlike refined carbohydrates like white bread, which create chaos in the body, the sweet potato provides a gentle, long-lasting, and stable source of energy. For the workers, our muscles, to do their difficult job of rebuilding, they need more than just the bricks of protein. They need a steady, reliable source of fuel to power their work. The sweet potato is this perfect fuel.
You are absolutely right to call it a wise carbohydrate. From a scientific perspective, it's a powerhouse for seniors. Unlike white potatoes or bread, sweet potatoes have a lower glycemic index, meaning their carbohydrates are released slowly into the bloodstream. This prevents the blood sugar spikes and crashes that can increase inflammation and drain energy. But there's another deeper benefit that science is just beginning to appreciate. When you cook and then cool a sweet potato, a portion of its starches transforms into resistant starch. This type of starch isn't digested in the small intestine. Instead, it travels to the colon, where it becomes the perfect food for our beneficial gut bacteria. These bacteria then ferment this starch and produce powerful anti-inflammatory compounds called short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, like butyrate. So by eating a cooled sweet potato, you are not just feeding yourself. You are feeding your microbiome, which then produces medicine that reduces systemic inflammation throughout your entire body, directly benefiting your muscle health.
So you see, it is a complete and intelligent system. The natto and sardines provide the workers and the bricks to build the house. The seaweed and sesame provide the tools and support for the entire structure, and the sweet potato provides the calm, steady power to get the job done. This was the system that helped my patient, Mr. Ishikawa, the carpenter. He did not just get his physical strength back, he told me with great emotion that he got his purpose back. He could once again hold his beloved tools with a steady hand and feel useful. That is the true goal.
That is an incredible outcome, and it perfectly summarizes the message. The lesson is that a diet to combat sarcopenia is not about restriction or just endlessly eating more protein. It's about creating a balanced, synergistic system of smart proteins, supportive minerals, and wise carbohydrates that nourish the entire body.
Exactly. You must nourish the workers, support the house, and provide good, clean energy. Do this, and the body, even in its later years, will remain strong and capable.
Dr. Hinohara, this has been a masterclass in functional nutrition. Thank you for giving us a powerful, food-based toolkit to fight back against sarcopenia. To our audience at Healthier Daily, we hope this has given you new inspiration and hope for your own health journey. As always, this information is for educational purposes and is not a substitute for personal medical advice. Please consult with your physician or a registered dietitian before making significant changes to your diet, especially if you have underlying health conditions. If you found this guide to rebuilding muscle with food helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Sharing this video can help someone you love take control of their strength and fight sarcopenia. In the comments below, please tell us, which of these 5 muscle-supporting foods are you most excited to try this week? I'm Dr. Ben Carter. Eat with purpose, stay strong, and we'll see you next time.